Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to Speaking Spurs and me, Kieran, talking all things Tottenham. And oh my, what a week it has been in football. Absolute whirlwind from last weekend and everything that's happened, as you would have seen in the Champions League, Europa League, European Conference League. It's been absolutely mental. So we'll start with the Premier League. Obviously, everything pretty much that could go our way did go our way. All the teams around us dropping points. And normally with Spurs, as you know, as a fan, every time we have the chance to take advantage of that situation, we don't. We crumble, we capitulate, we become Spursy, drop points. But this time round, we didn't. In what was a very tough game against Aston Villa, I've got to say, not so much in the second half. First half certainly was. So the Premier League table is looking pretty sweet at the moment. There's still plenty of work to do with the games left. So yeah, I'll just talk about my thoughts from the Aston Villa game, quickly go through some player ratings and talk about what we've got coming ahead in terms of the Brighton game. Yeah, so the game was very difficult. I thought Villa played some really nice football in the first half. They attacked us really well, put us under loads of pressure. Defensively, we held out with some sort of resilience, but it was really Hugo Lloris that kind of came to the rescue and kept us in the game in the first half. We needed him. Without him in goal, it could have been a different story. I mean, I have no doubt we'd have gone on to score goals in the second half. We have become what I would call second half Spurs, with the KSK, which is Kane, Son and Kulusevski. They're just too much for teams to handle at the moment. They've got, in this squad at the moment, there's great belief, great fitness, as you'll see, as like in second halves, like towards the end of the games, we don't drift off anymore. There's a resilience and the tactics are obviously coming to fruition. So yeah, second half Spurs are just dominating at the moment in the league. Conte was talking about things, and I'll just concise it. He said that the character was important in the game, very, very important. We had to be strong mentally. Teams don't go to Villa and win easy, and you can see that. I know they're probably not in the league where they want to be, but I have to say they do have an identity in the way they play football. They're great in an attacking sense. They just don't put the ball in the back of the net as much as they should. Danny Ings had some chances that on a different day he would have absolutely buried. So, he said that he appreciated the effort of his players. They just kept going until the end. The second half pretty much won the game in an important way. The Villa intensity dropped because of the way we were playing. A great win, especially for the teams around you when they lose. Sonny now has 8 in 8. So that's 8 goals in 8 games. He also commented on the contributions from all the attacking players. Bad news to come out of the game. Obviously, Matt Doherty is now injured for the rest of the season, and I did say I was going to do a video here on him, and it still will come. But I'm just glad I didn't do it beforehand, sitting there hyping him up, talking about how important he's going to be for this run-in, because now we haven't got him. But now we can reminisce on how important he would have been. But yeah, he's out for the rest of the season with an injury, and that came from that Matty Cash tackle that, was it necessary to go in that hard? I don't think so. I know Steven Gerrard had asked for his players to be a bit feistier in the tackle and in games, and I think it was a bit over the top. They got away with a few tackles that were a bit nasty in that game, and then we received bookings for stuff that wasn't as bad. Scans at the moment show that he's ruptured his, and this is technical terms here, medial collateral ligament in his knee. He could be out for up to 12 weeks, but they're citing at the moment maybe about 8 weeks. As for surgery, Conte was talking yesterday in his build up to the Brighton game, said at the moment there isn't really talk of surgery, but that's just a first opinion. They will get more opinions to assess what's the best situation for the player. But even with surgery, he's not going to be back to play for us this season. The only thing that it will affect is playing for Ireland in the summer. So that's a bit of a blow for him, I suppose. Conte will be gutted to have him out for the rest of the season. He's publicly praised him in recent weeks, saying that he's an important player for us. It now puts more pressure on Emerson Royal to perform in the last 7 games because we don't have Tanganga as a guy that can come in and share the position with him. So that will it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Although we have seen Emerson in the last 2 games anyway, because he's decided to start Doherty out on the left, and that was because Reguilon and Sessegnon weren't fully fit. But both of them are back now, so we'll see what happens there. He might experiment and have Reguilon on the left and Sessegnon on the right. We'll see. He might have to rotate him a bit in games, or he might experiment with Kulusevski, Bergwijn and Mora as wing-backs. Interesting. But we will see, because Royale is our only recognised and fit right wing-back at the moment. But yeah, the weekend was kind of fantastic for us, wasn't it? We saw Brentford beat West Ham 2-0, Everton beat Manchester United 1-0, Arsenal lost 2-1 to Brighton, and Newcastle beat Wolves 1-0. We'll just talk about the player ratings from the Villa game. So Lloris for me normally comes away with a 6 because he doesn't have much to do in games, but he comes away for me with a 10. Now, you don't really see me give out 10s, and this comes just for the fact that without him in this game, where would we be? Would we have gone on to win it? Would we have lost it? Would we have come away with a draw? We'll never know, because he was on form. He made a low save against Matty Cash 14 minutes in. Great close range, palm away from Ramsey, which was point blank shot. Pushed away a McGinn rocket. A save before half time, again from Cash, and this was a volley. And one on the line to stop Coutinho's swerving free kick. 7 saves in the first half alone. That's immense. He sent the ball long for Kane for his flick on for the Kulusevski goal, even though Conte was screaming at him from the side of the pitch, telling him to play it short, which he actually he spoke about in one of his interviews after the game. They were asking about him, talking to Lloris about that, and you know, he was all smiling and joking, saying that in the end he was happy with what happened. Romero comes away with an 8. Oh yeah, so Lloris, yeah, my man of the match, by the way. Romero comes away with an 8. A couple of big first half challenges, lovely diagonal ball for Kane's flick on for the Son goal. And again, he managed to avoid a yellow card, which now means he won't be facing a ban at any point if he picks up another card soon. Dyer comes away with a 7, some shaky first half moments from him, but on the whole dealt with most things that came his way, kept the defensive line nice and compact again. Davies, he gets a 7, another solid display from him. We're used to this. He mopped up a decent amount of things around him. Emerson Royale, he gets a 6. Poor passing again. And this is the part of his game he really, really needs to work on. He is not great on the ball whatsoever. He does most of his defensive duties okay. He's got pace to get him out of trouble. But in terms of his passing, on the whole, it's not good enough in attacking sense, or trying to build from the back. So yeah, a 6 from him. But he did actually create plenty of space for Kulusevski. So that's, you know, the thing that he did well, I suppose. Moving on, Hotspur, he gets a 9. Big performance from him. He battled hard, soaked up a lot of tackles in that game. Bentancur, a 7. Composed display. He was pulled very deep by Villa in the first half because of the amount of attacks that they were producing, but he stood firm, held his ground. Doherty, love to give him more, but you know, he only gets a 5 because he wasn't on the pitch for long. He got injured after 2 bouts of treatment before coming off after 20 minutes from that Matty Cash tackle that he just couldn't shake off. He wanted to stay on, tried his hardest for the team, and you know, it's cost him. Kulusevski, he gets an 8. Quiet first half from him, as from all the attackers really, and that's credit to Aston Villa. It's not because we are playing particularly poor. He's obviously scored from the Kane flick on, burying his shot in the far corner. He set up Sonny for a chance as well, and then he got the assist for a Sonny goal. Great feet on the edge of our own box, so he actually started the move that he then helped almost finish. Kane, he gets an 8. Again, difficult first half for him. 2 flick on assists with his head. The second one from Sonny, absolutely perfect. And when you watch Kane, you slow it down, you see him have that little look over his shoulder. He knows exactly where to put the ball, knows where Sonny's going to be. Incredible. And then Sonny, he gets a 9.5 from me. You know I don't like to do half marks, but I didn't want to give him a 10 because I felt Lloris was just a bit better on the day and saved us in this game. And I think, you know, without Sonny's goals, we still probably would have gone on to win the game in some sense of the word. But fantastic from him. He's looking lively, doing his bit for the team. Scored 3 minutes in on the game from Kane's deflected shot, which was going well wide. It was a dreadful shot, but he hit it beautifully. Great feet on the, no, what's that one there? Yeah, scored from the Kane flick on, and then also curled home for his hat-trick, which was nice for him to see. He's now working his way up the top scoring charts for Spurs. He's doing very well this season. He's also, you know, if he carries on at the rate he's going, he's got a shoe in for the Golden Boot this year in the Premier League. He's definitely on the heels of him. Mo Salah, watch this space. Then let's talk about the subs. Obviously, Reguilon had to come on after 20 minutes when Doherty came off. He stretched Villa a bit, but with no real quality. And this has been a big problem of his this season. The quality has definitely dipped. And, how many times can I talk about it in the final third? His passing has not been great. Crossing, not great. Mora, he gets a 5. Came on to replace Sonny, but not too much impact. And then Bergwijn, can't really give him a score because he only came on for the final minutes. So all in all from us, it was another great performance. It's a nice show of intent. It's under pressure from teams around us messing up. Took full advantage of it, and now we have the advantage in this race for the top 4. But it means we can't afford any mistakes. The North London derby is now going to be more important than ever in this race for the top 4. I think if we win that, we've got a nice little cushion. They've still got some very difficult games as well. But let's just talk about the table as a whole. So it should appear on your screen somewhere, here or here. We sit in 4th, 31 games played, 57 points. Goal difference is now plus 19. Massive, massive turnaround. Arsenal in 5th, they've played 30 games, 54 points and a plus 9 goal difference. West Ham played 32, 51 points and a plus 9 goal difference. And I actually think they're kind of out of the race now in terms of top 4. I don't think they're going to finish in the top 4 now. I think because they've played the extra game, they're obviously 2 behind Arsenal now. I think that's them kind of done. Manchester United played 31 on the same points as Arsenal, 51 with only a plus 7 goal difference. So they're still in contention, I would say, just about. And then Wolves, I think they're out of it now. Played 32, 49 points plus 5 goal difference. I think, coming into the back end of the season, they're going to have to pretty much win every single game and hope the rest of us have a bit of a downturn. So Arsenal have got a game in hand, and they can only go level on points. West Ham, 6-point gap, and are a game ahead of us. Man United, 6-point gap, but level games of us. And then Wolves have played 1 more, and there's an 8-point gap. So yeah, top 4 over from there for them. West Ham, I think as well, mainly because of how they've performed in Europe, and Lyon weren't especially great in the second leg. Tanguy Ndombele got himself taken off after half time. He wasn't great for them. I can't see him coming back to Spurs and performing and being integrated back into the squad. I think his days are done now. He was pretty awful in that first half. So yeah, West Ham repping it in that sense in the Europa League. Leicester got their win. It's just, it's mental. And the better, I know there's a lot of people around that don't want the other English teams to do well in the Champions League, Europa League. Now, I do want them to do well. I don't want them to win it, don't get me wrong. I don't want any other English team to hang trophies over us whatsoever. Don't want them to win it, but I want them to get to the final and lose. The longer these teams around us stay in these competitions, they've got their eye slightly distracted, which puts us in a great position to take advantage of that. And, their players are going to be tired. They're going to rest players, rotate the squad a bit more to make sure they're fresh for these Champions League games, Europa League games. I mean, obviously we saw Chelsea go out to Real Madrid Chelsea gave it a really good go in the second leg. Credit to them for that, as much as I hate them. West Ham obviously did their bit. Barcelona, I mean, what happened there? Frankfurt, and if anybody watched the game, Frankfurt absolutely destroyed them over the pitch. They was working so hard. There were so many gaps, especially late in the game where Barca had to commit players. Frankfurt could just happily attack down the left-hand side at the Barcelona right side of defence. It was absolutely mental. It was great to watch. And I know it's not their priority competition. And I think that's kind of, changed the mentality. of everything. And the way it stands in Europe at the moment, just a note for next season, if West Ham win the Europa League and we finish in the top 4, just to clarify, we're not going to have a situation where Chelsea won it and we finish in the top 4. We will still have a Champions League spot if we finish 4th and they win it. So what will happen, we will have 5 teams in the Champions League, Europa League will have its representatives, and the Conference League. We could end up, depending on how everything goes, with 9 English teams in European competition next year. That's absolutely mental. Now, a lot of that depends on who wins which competition, where teams finish in the league. Also, Crystal Palace will play a big part in this, depending on whether they win the FA Cup. So there's a lot still to go on. But yeah, potentially 9 teams could represent the Premier League in Europe next year, which is 1 away from being half of our table in European competition. Now, you know, as I said, I don't want English clubs to go on and do really, really well in Europe, but it's a good place to be. And maybe this clarifies a bit of the ups and downs in the Premier League this season. There's been a lot of criticism of some of the big teams dropping points that perhaps you wouldn't think they should normally. Maybe it's not that these teams have been playing really bad, because you can see in Europe we're giving it a right go. And even though Chelsea have gone out of the Champions League, they gave a really good fight in their second leg. Liverpool did their bit, Man City did their bit. So maybe it's just a case that the other teams in the Premier League are just getting better and bridging the gap. That is something we potentially have to look at, because obviously if you see, I don't know, like Norwich beat Man City earlier in the season, you know, Brentford are doing their bit, Southampton, they've picked up some really good results this year. Nobody would have expected Wolves to be where they are this season, knocking on the door. West Ham have obviously put themselves in contention to be in the top 4 2 seasons in a row now, so they're really pushing as a club. So maybe it just is that these other teams in the Premier League are bridging the gap, and because of it we just assume that the top teams are not doing as well, when actually it's because the teams below us have stepped their game up. Obviously, year on year, smaller teams are able to attract better players, because you can't have all the best players in the top 6 teams now, because there's that many players from abroad that want to come to the Premier League. They're willing to drop down to smaller teams in the Premier League, and this is what happens. It makes the league competitive and the best league in the world. Like classic example, the Championship. It's one of the, for me, the Championship is one of the most entertaining leagues to watch, because you get the sturdy, hard defending, you get free-flowing attacking football, you get loads of goals going in, and that's just because the standard within the Championship, there's so much, in the top half of the table at least, so much that's similar. You can't really differentiate between a lot of the teams, and I think we're starting to see that in the Premier League. So, you know, in a season for us where we haven't particularly been that great or consistent, we've still managed to drag ourselves into a top 4 race, and it's advantage us. And when Conte come in, he basically said it would be a miracle for Spurs to finish in the top 4. And I think we all thought that ourselves as well, but look where we are now. You know, we've arguably got the most in-form front 3. And, you know, remember how gutted we were in the January transfer window when Liverpool swooped in and took Luis Diaz from under our noses. I haven't heard anyone mention him from, you know, Spurs' perspective in the last few weeks, and that's because Kulusevski has come in and just hit the ground running. Looks every bit a Premier League player. Immense. He's definitely balanced out our front 3. Bentancur has come in, definitely steadied the ship, especially while Skipper's been out injured. It was kind of perfect timing for that. So, you know, the most in-form front 3. Harry Kane's not necessarily scoring goals at the moment, but, you know, providing a ton of assists. His gameplay has gone up another level. So it's an exciting time to be a Spurs fan. If we can keep hold of Conte in the summer, amazing. But, you know, still a few games to go. Brighton next up. It's going to be a difficult task. They're not an easy team to play. You don't walk all over them. Luckily for us, the one thing that they have trouble with is scoring goals. And the good thing that we have in our corner at the moment is we are very good at not conceding goals. So, you know, this could be a game where I wouldn't expect us to go on a massive scoring spree like we have in other games. But Brighton are going to have their work cut out from, that's for sure. I think everyone is playing for the badge. They're playing for each other. They are playing for Conte, playing for the fans. We'll see where we end up. So thanks for sticking around today for that video. Definitely going to bring you one on Matt Doherty as promised. And just so I can't back out of it, I have my notes here for Matt Doherty, so you know that one is coming. I can't back out of it. It is coming. Transfer stories are now starting to funnel through, ready for the summer. So don't worry, you will be getting transfer updates at some point next week. They're all going to start pouring in. So everything I find out is coming your way. Thanks for sticking around. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to support the video with a like and post your comments below. And until next time, after the Brighton game, come on you Spurs.